Sammy Austin from TUI was on the panel this morning, and you provided us with lots of interesting insights into the programmatic arena. So how do you think it went this morning?
Yeah, I think it was a really good discussion. I think there were a number of really good points raised. It was great to see that the audience was really engaging and they were really interested in some of the points that we were talking about. And I think it was a really good discussion. I think it was quite nice to have an agency and an advertiser and a tech partner on a panel, because you get a lot of different views and it forms quite a good discussion.
Yeah, there were some slight disagreements along the way, weren't there?
Yeah, a couple of disagreements, I guess, because that comes from the types of backgrounds we're all in, and I guess we all have different initiatives in terms of what we're trying to achieve.
Yes.
So I guess that always comes when you get agency, advertiser on the same panel. But again, there was still a lot of collaboration, like there was a lot of agreement in terms of some of the kind of issues and challenges we're facing. So things like viewability, fraud, ad blocking were all topics that were kind of discussed in some detail.
And what do you think the impact of these things will be on the market in the future?
So I do see them as a big challenge. So things like brand safety and fraud I'm not as concerned about, because I feel like the market's quite mature and there's actually quite a few products in place and third-party partners you can work with to eliminate those kinds of challenges. But actually viewability I see still as quite a big challenge, and ad blocking I think is growing as a challenge. I think in terms of viewability, the biggest challenge is that a number of different partners that you use to measure viewability have different methodology, and then you get inconsistent results. So I think once the methodology has changed and they all are in line and talking about the same thing, I think that will improve. In terms of ad blocking, there was a big discussion on it on the panel. I think we are, as an industry, partly to blame. I think the creative that we've been serving is a bit intrusive potentially. It's not as relevant as it can be, and I think we can change that. I think we have the technology and the access to data and the ability to actually serve more relevant creative. So I think it's a bit of a wake-up call for us as advertisers and agencies, and I think we should basically just look at that and see where we can improve from there.
But at the same time, the creative can benefit from the insights of programmatic.
Definitely, yeah. And I think initially when we started running programmatic campaigns, we would just repurpose old creative and not necessarily think, right, what is our creative strategy going to be? But now with all of these different data sets, we can actually start delivering really relevant creative. We can start looking at things like contextual data, weather data, first-party data, to deliver more personalised creative to consumers. And then, like you said, additionally, there's all of the insight that we can get off the back of our activities. So if we start looking at running things like A/B testing, we can take some of that insight and deliver better creative as a result.
Yeah, and see what people are less likely to want to block in the first place, I guess. That's the way around the things I think are going. What do you think is the future with regards to programmatic and how it can be used?
Yeah, so I think in terms of the future of programmatic, I think there's so many different areas for growth. One of the things we talked about on the panel was around programmatic moving into other marketing channels. So outdoor, radio and TV. So I see like massive growth in that area. I don't think we're quite there yet. I think we have to be aware that there are some limitations, and some of the things we can do in some markets we can't necessarily do in others. Like I said on the panel, I think second-party data is going to become ever more important. I think being able to access data directly from another advertiser is so valuable, and I think we'll see a rise in more advertisers becoming more collaborative with one another, where there's no competitive conflict, and actually sharing data to enable better advertising.
Brilliant. Well, thank you ever so much for chatting to us, and it was really interesting to see you talk earlier.
Great.
Have a lovely morning.